So I thought I'd take a second and film Jake's story. And we got Jake 10 years ago. Actually, I didn't get him, but my daughter did. And she brought him up from California. He was a teeny tiny, cute little puppy. Yes, you were. And anyways, he was so scared of us. I swear he hid under the table for about 6 weeks. And then he fell madly in love with us. And he was probably the easiest of any that we've had. I mean, he did roll up our carpets. He did eat the seatbelts out of our car. He did some pretty naughty things in his first year, but once he turned a year old, he was like absolutely perfect. And anyways, for those of you that don't know, I share Jake with my daughter because she's the one who brought him up. Technically, he's her dog, but he lived here the first 5 years of his life. And then when she moved, then we started to do the splitting. And one thing I've got to say about Jake, and Honey's always bugging him and making him crazy and doing all her shenanigans with him, but he is the most zen, spiritual little guy you've ever met. She just knows how to push all of his buttons. And another thing with Jake, yeah, you're such a good boy, is it's going to sound nuts, but I was really sick when my daughter brought him up. I had autoimmune disease, and anyways, he is the one who got me out of bed. Basically, I was pretty damn near bedridden because it would feel like I'd be run over by a Mack truck every morning, no doubt, run over by the Mack truck. It was so painful. I just couldn't take it. So her bringing him up really saved me and caused me to change my diet and get up walking. It was real slow going. It was like to the mailbox and back walking, to the end of the cul-de-sac and back walking. And, you know, I've got him to thank for all of that. So anyways, that's a little bit about Jake. You guys sit down. It's a story time. You're not sitting. You're not sitting. You're making story time take longer. All right. So anyways, we got Bob as a rescue. My daughter had a girlfriend she worked with, and really nice girl, and they had to move, and where they were moving, they didn't take dogs. And Bob had tried out 2 other homes before mine, and they didn't work out. And I feel really bad because Bob doesn't like between 8 to 12-year-old boys. And I think it's because one of the boys got to him and wasn't very kind. So Bob's not mean to 8 to 12-year-old boys. He's just really scared of them, and it just kind of breaks my heart. But anyways, he was a real character. We got him when he was 1. Jake was about 2, and it was the best decision we ever made. No! Are you sitting? Is your bottom on the floor? Is this your story? It's not your story. It's Bob's story. And anyways, he was on his way to the pound. That was it. There was not much hope for poor Bubba. And so I volunteered to take him, and Jake was elated. Him and Jake were best buddies, and life was great. And then my daughter, a couple years later, started taking Jake every other week, and Bob would fall into this giant puddle of depression. And no, you can't take the bag. You can't have the bag, you little stinker. And he'd fall into this deep, pit of depression, and we didn't know what to do about it because we couldn't say, well, hey, you can't take Jake because he's sad and depressed. And so we went out and got Jake's sister from a different litter. Half sister, because she was 75% wolf. And oh my God, boom, total perfection, because Jake knew this was his sister, and that was really, really cool. And Bob fell in love with her. And anyway, so she ended up dying, and Bob went into the worst depression ever, because he watched it, he saw the whole thing happen, and she was 3 years old, and she ended up with bone cancer, and it was an awful death. That's all I can really say about that. And honey, good Lord, Again, Bob's story, not yours. And after she died, I thought he was going to lay down and die right with her. It was awful. And after a couple months, I made a hardcore decision to then look for Honey. Yes, I did. And that might have been a mistake. No, it was not a mistake. Oh, now you're gone. The treats are gone, so you're gone. But that's when I started looking on the internet, and I didn't think I was going to find anything because now that I'm telling her story, she's gone. But anyways, sorry, I'm trying to get treats out and I'm making all kinds of noise and losing my place. And anyways, I didn't think I was going to find anything because it was at the end of puppy season for her. And my God, we found her. And I was like, oh my God, this is too soon. This is probably a mistake. Bubba's so depressed. I think he's going to die, so I've got to do something. And nothing was working with him. It was horrible. And I was decimated. It was horrible. And so I contacted the breeder, and he said, yep, we could have her. And I said, God, give me a sign, because I needed a sign from God for Honey, because I really didn't know if this was the right decision or not. And by God, the breeder contacted me later that night and said what her birthday was. And she's born on the exact same day as me. And whether it's coincidence or not, that was the sign I needed. Be nice to Bob. He's still kind of broken. He's doing a lot better, but you're not going to stay out here for your story? No, she's not going to stay out here for her story, so you're going to stay out here for her story. And anyways, we drove across 9 states, went and picked her up, and she connected with Bob instantly. You know, I know people like to hear a great rescue story, but we didn't rescue Honey. Honey rescued us. She gave us hope. She gave us joy. She gave us insanity and silliness. And yeah, so those are kind of their stories in a nutshell. You guys take care.